That's
Th-
okay.
Thanks for letting me record. Um,
That's no problem.
so let me just start out, and I'll tell you the basics of the interview, and then we'll get into the questions. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the basic idea is that I'm trying to understand the relational dynamics of the workshop artists. So
Okay.
essentially understand how all the different stakeholders involved in the Dota 2 community and in the community of workshop artists, how they all
Mm-hmm.
function together. And essentially, you will be kept completely anonymous in the process, and it's all about your opinion. So elaborate as
Okay.
much as you want. Okay. And there are no right or wrong answers. Um,
Cool.
so let me start with the first question. Um, the first question is, how would you describe the need you're fulfilling for Dota 2?
Sorry, can you say it again?
Sorry, my mic. How would you describe the need you're fulfilling for Dota 2?
The needs you're fulfilling?
The
Is that what you
need
mean?
you are fulfilling.
Oh, in terms of like what Dota 2 needs, I guess, um, so it's pretty much just providing, I guess, additional um, means for people to purchase skins and items within Dota 2, aside from the ones that Valve traditionally creates themselves.
Okay.
That's pretty much it, I think. Yeah.
And specifically for the Dota 2 community, what need are you fulfilling for them?
Um, I guess it's kind of hard to say. I think it's providing them a means to like spend money on the game. Um, it's kind of weird because I think if you just look at like it kind of changes over time. Like I think nowadays it's giving them reasons to try and support the major tournament and the international. For recently, I think that's pretty much where a lot of the cosmetic items have gone. Um, they're into those. In the past, it was, providing the items and sets that people can buy to support tournaments, like third-party tournaments, but they've kind of gone on the wayside. Um, and yeah, I guess it's just kind of, providing people the ability to, customize their character and make themselves look better, I guess.
Okay, great. And how would you describe the need you're fulfilling for Valve in particular?
Um, Yeah. So with Valve, it's very it's kind of complicated. So I guess the need they have is to have these kind of things for sale that generate them an income. I guess they generate us an income too, but predominantly it's providing them with the means of generating income for tournaments or themselves in terms of like a prize pool. So that's I would say that's probably the main thing the sets do for them is it may even I don't know like it may even internally kind of take some stress off their artists if they know that we're providing this kind of stuff. But I don't really know 100% if that's true or not.
Okay, great. Thanks. So the next sort of set of questions are around trust within
Yep.
within these things. So how would you describe the nature of the trust that you have for the greater Dota 2 community?
Um, yeah, it's I think for the greater Dota 2 community, aside from just the workshop people, um, like I trust that when I put things on the workshop, well, I kind of hope that they will look at them and kind of respect the amount of work that's gone into them. Doesn't always happen like that, unfortunately. Um, but I think I just trust that I can put this stuff out there and have people kind of respect the work that I've done. Yeah.
Okay, well, the way you've sort of described trust there is very much in terms of almost like you have faith that they will do it, but do you
Yeah,
actually
kind
do,
of.
do you actually trust them?
Um, it's kind of hard. So often, sometimes I don't trust the greater Dota 2 community to um, make the decisions based on a lot of the work that goes into it. I have to admit, you do lose a bit of trust because often the Dota 2 community kind of does things on face value or based on the name of the artist. Like I pretty much firmly believe that. I think there's a lot of sets and things that are made that if they were made by a lesser known artist kind of just get swept under the rug and people don't notice them. But if they're made by someone who's, quite a famous personality or a name, they, arbitrarily get a lot more attention. Um, so in that respect, it is hard to kind of it's hard to kind of trust the community to make a decision, because they kind of just they look for one specific thing when, there's a lot more kind of work that goes into making a set or just an item.
Okay, thanks. That's very interesting. So how would you describe the trust that you have in the community of content contributors or the other workshop artists?
Um, yeah, so I trust them to give a lot of honest feedback, I think. But it is a very kind of odd community, in that, in a sense, you are working together to better a video game. So much like a traditional studio, like any studio in the world would, except, you know, there is, I think it's kind of, the last few months it's kind of died down, but, a year or two ago, it was a pretty um, dog eat dog. It was a pretty vicious kind of community, um, in the sense that, it was good to provide feedback and help people out, but there was this kind of undercurrent of, well, if I help these people, then that kind of takes away my chances of earning an income if their stuff is really good and, mine doesn't get in, which is kind of a bit unhealthy. Um, but yeah, like there was like in terms of like the skills of the artist and what they do, yeah, I do kind of trust their knowledge and their feedback. But I think there's a whole bunch of different issues that maybe we can get onto later with the Dota 2 workshop community.
Okay. I mean, we can always skip questions later. I mean, do you want to elaborate a
Yeah.
bit on those issues?
Yeah, sure. So like for the most part, I've been kind of like I don't do this as a full-time job. Like I just kind of do it when I have spare time. So because of that, I kind of just take a back seat to most of the kind of workshop stuff that goes on. So I just kind of do my own thing and don't really get involved in it. But yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of you know there was a lot of drama several years ago with people getting angry at other people. This kind of hint of favoritism from Valve, and that gets hard to kind of trust some artists when you think, well, you get inside information, or you know about things before other people do, or you're invited to work on special projects the rest of us don't aren't allowed to work on or don't know about. So it's a bit of an uneven playing field there. Like I get what the concept was to make it this, even playing field for all contributors, but it didn't really pan out that way. So it did get a bit crazy. I'd probably say a year or two ago, but I think it's kind of very much calmed down now in the fact that Valve don't add nearly as many items or sets as they used to. It's very staggered now, so kind of it's a bit calmer now. Yeah.
Okay, great. And so that, I mean, that kind of brings us to the next question: is how would you describe your trust in Valve?
Yeah. I don't know. I like I don't really have much. I haven't in the past have a lot of contact with Valve. Um, I have in some respects. I've had them, kind of ask me to rework several things that for various reasons weren't acceptable to them. So I've reworked them and then just heard no feedback at all. Um, and I think, I have to give probably some, um, allowances to Valve that I think probably the workshop grew a lot faster than they were kind of anticipating it to grow. Um, but yeah, like I think it's not the fact that I don't trust Valve. It's just that they're pretty non-communicative. They don't really talk a lot. Um, so, you don't, it's hard to kind of trust a wall. There's not really much on the other side there that's getting back to you. So, that's what I mean. I kind of just, I did my own thing and just kind of plodded along.